Are we live, people? Is it live? Are we live? What is up? Another episode of Sloppy Sundays is here. You know what it is. I'm Ben Dunna, Benny Buckets. We in the house. We getting into this sloppiest of Sundays. The background may be different, but the outcome's still the same. It's super sloppy, people. And so, if you need to vent a little bit, throw it in the chat. If you need to gloat a little bit, throw it in the chat. If you've got some questions for fantasy championships next week, throw it in the chat. We'll be joined shortly by my man JT, football expert, Ric Flair. He's in the house as well, getting into that a little bit. But let's start off with the first matchup of the day, and that, I think it has to be probably the toilet bowl of the week starting off. We have got the Atlanta Falcons versus the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are now 2-12-1, and the Falcons are 7-8. On the Lions side, rushing wise, Jamal Williams is back. DeAndre Swift is still on the bench, hurt. 77 yards for Jamal and 19 carries. Craig Reynolds, 29 yards on 11 carries. And Amon-Ra St. Brown sprinkled in 2 carries for 19 yards. And he's the really only one we need to talk about today. 9 receptions, 91 yards, and a biscuit. And he, over the past 3 games, is top 10 fantasy wide receiver, which is great going into next season. On the Atlanta side, the Cordell Patterson was salvaged by a touchdown on the ground. Kyle Pitts, 6 receptions, 102 yards. That's looking great for next year. Russell Gage had kind of a down week from weeks we've seen in the past. And so, it was a toilet bowl of the week. What can you expect from these two teams that are really just kind of wait until next year, so to speak? Next, I think we got to go to the Rams versus the Vikings. And the Vikings, it seems like, are a mainstay on the shot caller shootout, and they did not do nothing. Okay, they did not do nothing. All right, they ceased to de-impress or not impress because this one came down to the final possession, and Matt Stafford, 3 interceptions, only under 200 yards, looking like Trevor Lawrence out there with a touchdown. Sony Michel, though, this is the biggest story here. 27 carries, 131 yards. Darrell Henderson only had 1 carry, went down with an injury. Uh-oh. Sony Michel, people, you should be ecstatic. 1 touchdown for Michel as well. Cooper Kupp did Cooper Kupp things. Cooper Kupp of coffee had about 10 cups of coffee on 109 coffee grounds and no touchdowns. Odell scored another touchdown to really save his day as well. On the Viking side, Kirk Cousins, 1 touchdown, 315 yards, 1 interception. Not too bad. We've really come to see that he's had a great year throwing the ball and making the right decisions, but he hasn't had crazy fantasy numbers. Pretty just consistent over this time frame. Alexander Madison did start today, and he had 41 yards on 13 carries and a touchdown with 3 catches on 29 yards. Justin Jefferson, 8 receptions, 116 yards. This game with the the Cardinals lost last night gave the Rams the number one seed in the NFC West. The Packers are still overall number one, but the Rams are now 11-4. The Cardinals are 10-5, and they're doing the same kind of thing they did last year. They freaks. They just love choking. And so, going forward, it sucks because Kyler Murray, it's really, he's let down a lot of fantasy owners these last few weeks, if he's been, except for the 1 week when he came back. But it was like last year, too. In championship week, he had like 5-10 points. You just can't get that from a 5-round, 4-round quarterback when you can wait until like Tom Brady or someone like that. All right? But Justin Jefferson, he is making a statement for fantasy football round number 1 to be drafted early round 2 in place of like Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs. 8 receptions, 116 yards, no TDs today. KJ Osborne, though, another great game. 5 receptions, 68 yards, and a biscuit. That is 17.8 points in full PPR, so that's gold. And this is with Adam Thielen playing. Adam Thielen, 3 receptions, 40 yards. I still think that for the future, it's going to be the Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne show because Adam Thielen will eventually move on. And even Tyler Conklin had a pretty good day for his standards, even without a touchdown. So going forward into next year, KJ Osborne is going to be kind of like round 8, round 9, maybe like if you can sneak him into the Mike Williams round 10, that's the most plausible. And he looks like to be a bargain next year too, because I see him getting better and better and better. So that had a lot of NFL real life implications and fantasy implications if you played the likes of Darrell Henderson. If you had Dalvin Cook and were banking on him to win this week, just didn't happen. And remember, vent if you need to, gloat if you have to, and fantasy is life. It's a vibe. Let's move on to the Giants versus the Eagles. The Eagles took this one. They are now 8-7. They are still fighting for a wild card spot, and the Giants are just working on a draft pick. On the Giants side, Mike Glennon threw a touchdown. They both, him and Fromm, threw an interception. Each of them under 100 yards throwing. Saquon had a really bad day. It was just a really bad day all around. Kadarius Toney had 4 receptions, 28 yards. Kenny Golladay, 3 receptions, 22. There was just really nothing happening. The Eagles defense really showed up. And Jalen Hurts, under 200 yards thrown, but that's nothing to really concern yourself with. But it is to concern yourself that he only had 7 yards on the ground with 2 carries. Miles Sanders, I believe, went down, questionable return, 45 yards and 7 carries. Boston Scott, 12 carries, 41 yards. And then also Jordan Howard had 9 carries, 37 yards, and Boston Scott got the touchdown. Receiving-wise, 5 receptions, 80 yards, and a biscuit for Devonta Smith. I needed him to do that last week to be Bald Guy. Shout out Bald Guy, but great matchup nonetheless. And we got some chatter in the chat. What's up, Brian Gibbons? How we doing? How we feeling? How we living? Think Burkhead can be a replacement for Sanders next week. Not expecting a repeat performance, but volume is there. It is. And remember, Burkhead had some real big flashes on the Patriots years ago. And so, he was going against one of the worst rated, one of the worst rated run defenses in the league. They're banged up, and the Chargers just don't really have it. And hate that I don't have a better option than Scary Terry. Got to keep running him out there. There are options. Hit us up here. Give us some people on the waiver wire we can help you out with. Some probably already scooped up with KJ Osborne and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Even take a screenshot, fantasy_shotcallers. Hit me up in the DMs, and we'll go from there. And I got you. Let's get this ship, baby, because I'm in a fantasy championship next week as well. So we got to get those dubs. You know what I'm saying? And then, but going back to the Eagles, and speaking of Miles Sanders with his injury, There will be replacements. It's going to be another, who knows, Boston Scott or Jordan Howard. If he doesn't play, 16-team PPR, waivers are bare. It may be a situation with it's kind of hindering on what happens tomorrow. Imagine if Duke Johnson actually gets that number one spot in that rotation. He may be out still, or not out, but not on your waiver wire, so to speak, because of the 16 PPR, depending like how many dogs you actually play with. Brian Streams Palmer this week. Him or Guyton might go another play if Williams is still out. Yeah, Williams' injury, finally, but not really because it's COVID. So I doubt he's still out unless he's vaccinated. Palmer or Guyton is kind of a crapshoot. And that offense didn't look too good playing the lowly Texans. Nevertheless, me and my co-host Zach Attack Bernie do a show here on the Fantasy Football Network Tuesday, Stacking the Studs, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We rank all the players going into week on week, so this will be into week 17, and getting into the nitty-gritty of fantasy championships, and we give you all them waiver wire pickups. What's up, Money Moniz? Cowboys D, yes, sir. Also, y'all talk about Burkhead yet? No, we haven't. Where would you rank him next week? I think that would be a great start off. And welcome in, JT. How we doing? How we feeling? How we living?
Yo! I was down in the dumps. Dalton Schultz versus Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin.
Oh, wow. And you won.
I was only up 6, and I survived. Wow. It took me 13 minutes to find a shirt because I was running around the neighborhood naked after that win. I don't even know where my glasses are.
I'm glad I wasn't there to see that. But what do you think about Burkhead for next week?
Who are they playing? Who are the Texans playing?
That is a good question. Let's look up a little bit. Texans are playing the 49ers.
We just saw the Titans run offense kind of bottled up by them. I would say, Burkhead will probably give double digits as long as David Johnson's inactive. I wouldn't get too caught up with Burkhead because the Chargers' run defense is bottom 5 in the league, and this was the Texans' only path to victory. And COVID, everybody's out, no Bosa. I wouldn't fall in love with. I would take the win if he got you there, but I wouldn't be. I don't think Burkhead's RB1 next week. Let's put it that way. He's a nice floor guy.
I agree 100%. And this is kind of one of those things where the Burkhead had a crazy high week, and then he's going to slimmer down a little bit because of all the facts you just said. For some reason, it's looking like the YouTube is not actually playing video. It's just playing our sound, which is very strange. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. But whatever. Our voices are entertaining enough for right now. But I waited, and I was actually on Eagles-Giants, and I was I covered the Giants in about 10 seconds about how bad they were. But what do you think about the Boston Scott, Jordan Howard with Miles Sanders hurt again?
Who the Eagles got next week?
Is it the Cowboys? Oh, Washington football team. I don't know what's going on. There's some technical difficulties here for whatever reason. Yeah, the video's not showing on YouTube. I really don't know what's going on. It's kind of frustrating, but whatever. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Let me try to reload this real quick.
Hey,
Hello. I hope this works. Mama, can you hear me?
you're telling me this was a clothing's optional podcast?
No.
Dude, that's a dope hat, though. You have to be on video for that.
Right?
Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Dude, I can't believe I can't believe I won. Whoops. Bleep.
Not even getting a sound now.
Oh,
I
cool.
guess
So,
it is now.
all right. Hopefully, I didn't get my bleep out moment. That's terrible, man. That's terrible. Like I always say, when you got a tight end versus a running back and a wide receiver, and you only got six points, you're gonna win that game. $16-team PPR. Jesus Christ. Maybe it's me. Should I leave and come back?
No. I guess it hasn't been having video this whole time.
Oh.